Hey FreightWaves fans and friends, welcome to Thursday edition of FreightWaves Now, where we're bringing it to you what is happening right now. We've got Chief Meteorologist Nick Austin going to bring us some road conditions, what's happening with the developing and now exploding weather situation, and what is happening with air cargo. Market expert Jesse Cohen has flown in order to give us what is happening going on in all things air. It's going to be really interesting. Also, things are busy around here right now at FreightWaves because we are getting ready for Transparency 19. If you don't know about that, it is happening May 6th through 8th at the Georgia International Convention Center in Atlanta, and we would love to see you there. Talk about, I dare you to find a hotter, more innovative, more interesting conference in logistics, in freight, in tech and innovation anywhere. You can't find it. It is happening very soon. We'd love to join you. Check it out on the FreightWaves site. You can find it under our events, Transparency 19. Looking forward to that. Meanwhile, let's talk to Nick Austin. Nick,
hey, Chad.
Great to have you here as always.
What a great plug for transparency. That should get folks excited, I think.
I'm excited, and I just can't hide it. What do we have?
We have a blizzard, my friends. It started yesterday.
Still with us?
Over the Eastern Rockies, and it's moved up into the plains. South Dakota is getting slammed right now. Folks there are taking the brunt of the storm, although it's also going to bring a lot of snow and wind to Nebraska as well, parts of Minnesota as it moves towards the Great Lakes. But right now, the thing to know, Interstate 90 across all of South Dakota is closed. From Sioux Falls all the way over to Rapid City.
Heads up.
Which is basically the entire stretch of South Dakota.
Wow.
Because I-90 runs east-west right across the state. So it's just about the whole stretch of I-90 across South Dakota is closed.
And has that been expected for the past couple of days or day and a half?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the forecast models last weekend and late last week have been showing a pretty significant blizzard developing for this part of the country and lasting for a couple of days. And, day by day, the models kind of fine-tune as they keep running, and they keep updating. But yeah, for days and days, the models have been showing that. So it's basically panning out. This is panning out the way a lot of meteorologists expected. 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts. So that's going to knock out power. Impossible for driving. Truckers just should not be going through any of these areas where this blizzard is right now.
And it's so big, is rerouting even an option?
It's
like,
huge.
Not really.
Well, not really. You're going to have to go way out of the way, because even where it's not snowing, like across northern Missouri, Iowa, even all the way down to parts of Texas, the southern plains, even though it's not snowing in those areas, the winds are still terribly strong. We're talking about 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, even in those areas where it's extremely dry.
Literal headwinds. Literal headwinds going to slow down the freight market.
Headwinds, crosswinds, yeah, slowing down everything, and just major delays. So Interstate 29 is also closed from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, up towards the North Dakota line. So a lot of problems on the interstate. I
love this new feature on our Sonar platform. And by the way, if you want to check out and get a little more of a deeper dive into the Sonar platform that our market experts rely on very heavily and use almost every single day to give you our FreightWaves Now information, check us out. You can go to the FreightWaves site /Sonar and sign up for a demo, and we'll get you in the queue and get you one right away. We have all kinds of experts that can help you, customize it just the way that you would like. So, so tell us about this particular feature right here, where we've got road conditions and we've got we can actually visualize what's happening.
Two great new features on Sonar, relatively new features. One is the forecast road conditions product. So when they show up in purple, and you can go through a timeline, it's a 48-hour forecast. When they show up in purple, that means possible road closures. If it's blue, that means wet conditions.
Rain.
If it's in this kind of purple or pink, or not purple, but the pink or red shades, that means snowy and slushy. So we also have Department of Transportation road cameras. These are live cameras. Anytime you click on one, that's a live shot of what's happening in that area. So the one we have pulled up here is in Mitchell, South Dakota, which is right along Interstate 90, which, as I mentioned twice, that it's closed. The whole Interstate 90 in South Dakota is closed.
Right.
But look at what's happened. I mean, whiteout conditions, you can't see a thing.
I think I can see a truck. I can
Where?
see, it's
Where, Chad?
I think right up there.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere there in the background. But no joke. I mean, trucks, whether it's truck drivers or anybody else, you can't drive through a blizzard in whiteout conditions like this. It's just, it's not good. You can't do it. Not only because you can't see anything, but the winds are so fierce too. And you know, some truck drivers at the deadhead, there's no way you can do that with 50, 60 mile an hour wind gusts, even if you could see. But these are two great features that folks can use to see what's happening with the weather now and in the future.
And I think that you've pointed out too, you know, the blizzard may be over today, but there's going to be an ongoing kind of thaw out from these conditions,
I mean,
right?
The blizzard's probably going to start kind of petering out later today or maybe overnight. And the thing is, the effects and the disruptions, while you know they may not last for weeks and weeks, but at least for a few more days through the weekend after it's gone, because there still will be bad conditions as far as driving on the roads. Yeah. There could be power outages and power lines down across roads. There still could be roadblocks and road closures here and there. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah. So, you know, if the chief meteorologist tells you to watch out, I would listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. And, you know, just like stay safe out there, try to avoid that area. But yes, we know the freight show must go on. Also, air must go on. Jesse Cohen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Chad. It's great to be here in sunny and warm Chattanooga. Certainly the weather here is a lot better than what Nick just reported on.
It is delightful right now. We've got a couple of headlines you're talking about today.
Absolutely. So it's earnings season. It's April, and carriers, airlines, other transport providers will be providing quarterly earnings. And Delta was first out of the box yesterday. They're usually one of the first carriers to do that. And we wanted to really show you how they performed on cargo, because they're essentially, we've been talking for the past, well, since the beginning of the year and really into the fourth quarter of last year about the industry slowdown in cargo, really globally. Here's our first indicator of the financial impact of that.
Okay.
So what we've got here in the blue bars is quarterly revenue for Delta Airlines going back to 2016. And on the red line, that's the percent change over prior year, same quarter. So
2016
and then we've got
was
essentially where it's positive is above the white line. So essentially we have 7 quarters where Delta has had outstanding year-over-year increases. And yesterday they reported first quarter of 2019 they were 4.9% down versus the first quarter of 2018. And they were down about 3.2% in volumes. So while the story is largely a volume story, a lot of it's also pricing pressure that is being felt widespread across really the air cargo industry.
And Delta's one of our leaders as well, right? So if Delta's really feeling it, that might tell us a lot about.
Yeah. So Delta is the number 3 U.S. passenger carrier in terms of cargo revenue. United and American are larger. So I would expect that when those carriers report later this month, we're going to see something in the same percent down range. We may not see that so much with the freighter carriers, or certainly not with FedEx or UPS. Those guys are a little bit better insulated. They are able to move their fleets around a little bit more readily when things soften, and they can put them into a little bit better cargo markets.
What's Delta's growth, though? They may be third. What's their overall growth been like compared to other airlines?
So they've really been, the past 7 quarters, they've kept up with other airlines. Prior to that, they had several issues going on internally. They went through some management changes, but they've turned it around the past 2 years. They've been tracking double-digit growth along with pretty much their peers.
And this wasn't their first quarter, apparently. There was this 4Q of 2018, they were contracting, and that trend has continued.
So they were contracting, but they were still in positive year over year. So this is now the first quarter that are actually negative year over year, 4.9% down. We're $10 million. They did $192 million versus 202 the year before.
What are they saying about the reasons for the continual downslide, Jesse?
Well, they're subject to the same, slowing growth conditions that we've talked about, certainly on the website, certainly on this show, just the tariff issues, the trade issues, just the general slowing in the economy.
Okay, the global economy.
The global economy.
Yeah, okay.
So speaking of the global economy
Yeah.
and trade impacts, earlier this week, the Trump administration and the United States Trade Representative Office announced that they were going to be pursuing $11 billion in higher tariffs on European Union products. And this is coming really from a 14-year-old dispute over subsidies, launch subsidies that Airbus supposedly employed in launching the A380 airplane and the A350 airplane. And this has been an ongoing discussion between the United States through the World Trade Organization and the European Union, and they just haven't been able to resolve it. And as a result, the U.S. Trade Representative has proposed 317 different tariff items that are imported from Europe. And some of those are aircraft parts and engines and aircraft themselves. And then some of them are a wide range of commodities that we import from Europe. And they're looking for public comment on this in May, and they, with an intention to put these higher tariffs into effect. And the higher tariffs could be up to 100% of the value of those products. So what we've done here at FreightWaves is we've looked at the list of 317 and we've taken the top 12 from an air cargo standpoint, and you can get a sense. These are really where the highest volumes are. It's not necessarily the highest value.
Okay.
But overall, the list represents $21 billion worth of product, of which about $5 billion is air and the rest is ocean product. Okay. And essentially you can see from a tonnage standpoint where the greatest impacts would be, if indeed these are the products that they finally choose on. So the list is preliminary at this point. They're looking for public comment. What we've tried to identify is the types of commodities, and you see a lot of it's foodstuffs, a lot of it's the kind of items that Europe is known for. Salmon, it's not necessarily all of the salmon that comes in from Europe, but it's a good chunk of it. Leather handbags, fresh grape wines, cheese, champagne, sparkling wine. So it's designed, I think, to really impact a lot of different European companies. And
their exports?
In their exports to the United States. And then, of course, Europe is saying, hey, this is unfair, we're going to retaliate. So there's the potential here for a lot of tit for tat. But I think, what we're looking at here is this now becomes an additional commodity at risk that could slow down global trade, and that's a concern.
Even more.
Yeah, even more. And Europe is a major customer of the United States in terms of trading partners. So it's really a concern in terms of how this thing plays out.
So it's a 14-year dispute. Why does it seem to be coming to some kind of a head now? What's the timing? What's going on? Especially with all of the global fears and headwinds we're currently facing. Why now?
I think my personal observation is it's a time it looks like we may be wrapping up things in terms of the U.S.-China trade discussions. Those may be coming to closure. It's now time to sort of turn focus to items that have been sort of on the back burner but unresolved, and put some pressure on it, and we'll see what happens. So this will now probably start to take a little bit higher profile in the news. Turning
up the heat. Will U.S. consumers see hikes in these as a result? Will that be part of the fallout as well?
So as we saw with the threat to put tariffs on Chinese products, we may see some accelerated imports of some of these products in to avoid the potential for tariffs. But certainly if tariffs are indeed applied to some or all of this list, you can expect prices to go up.
Downstream, yeah, okay. Well, thanks for that news, I guess. It's not always good news. Sometimes it's just bad news in the news, such as it is as we're coming to you live each and every day, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Thanks for tuning in to FreightWaves Now and checking us out. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram, LinkedIn, social media. Spread the love. We'd love to see you around. And of course, on our site, FreightWaves Now is where you'll find all things. Don't forget to check out our Transparency 19 event if you visit, and we would love to see you in Atlanta in just a few weeks. So thanks for tuning in. In the meantime, don't worry, be happy.